Hello, hello. How are you? Hello. What is new? Hello, oops. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope y'all are well. As you know how we do it around here, if you could pretty please drop off a number 1 in the comment section so that I know you can hear me, and then we'll get to talking. Please hold. I had to get a little chip. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Sherry gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that, Sherry. Let me switch over here to this as well. There we go. All right. So can y'all... Let me get caught up here. I'm getting caught up in the chat on the other screen here for a second. Yeah, let me know if y'all can hear me on the thing over here. I apologize about the screen. The lighting is weird, but I literally got in. Okay, I see the ones. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks, Bookworm. Thanks, Tux. Y'all welcome Emily to the squad, to the sofa. Emily, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're warm. I hope everything's going okay up north. Thank you for hanging out and keeping the sofa cushions fluffed as you do. Please hold. Let me get another one of these pickled chips. So good. So hungry. So hungry. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Regina. Raspberry. Ooh, snow stopped. Hey, Dawn. How's it going? I hope everybody's doing great. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to do just kind of like a quick overview of the Fayetteville trip, which is the Avantae Deven case. I'll kind of tell you about that, whatnot. I took some footage, but I'm actually currently uploading it from my phone. We'll get into that. Obviously not in the courtroom. They want to do that. It was a very uneventful trip in the realm of the Avantae Deven aspect of it. However, that being said, it was still very interesting. Now, I met Shayna. If you remember Shayna Hirsch, she and Amy, this book right here, they wrote this. Excellent. If you haven't read it, check it out. It's amazing. Long Road to Justice, available on all sorts of platforms. So she met me there. And she's helping me do some stuff and whatnot. And so she came up, whatever. So we met there. Okay, so what's that noise? Hold on, what is that noise? Oh, it's never mind. I was like, what is that noise? Oh, thanks, Julie. Julie gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. So we got to hang out, do the court thing, all the fun stuff. So that's what we did. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to make a video that'll probably go on the main channel of the footage, stuff like that and whatnot. So let's go ahead and kind of just jump into it. So I basically have been on the road today, came home, did a bunch of stuff, went to the grocery store, and we just got back. And I've been eating, I'm off my diet today, pickles, the deep fried pickles, not the spicy ones, and then cheese sticks. So good. So good. Hey, John, how's it going? And y'all, what I'm going to do, because, okay, so side note too, we're going to definitely do another, we're going to do a members chat for the book club stuff, like the main one or whatever. I'm sorry. We're going to do a main members chat for the book club thing eventually. But we're going to do another one this weekend. It's like a mini one because there's so much to talk about. I'm going to do a video for the main channel to talk specifically about a couple aspects of it that I cannot wait. And then, if you remember, John, I know you're there. You've been talking in the videos I've been posting about that book. I cannot express to you how good this book is by Sherry Frankie. It is so good, y'all. So just crazy. Okay, so let's talk about Avantae Deven for a second. Hey Audra, how's it going? And last night, y'all, I did a very quick live from the hotel room because I was kind of bored and hanging out, and we talked about the Forgetful Grandmother trial. So it was very last minute, just kind of hang out type session. So yeah, it wasn't planned at all. Literally 10 o'clock, I was like, let me go live, and it was fun hanging out though. Okay, so Avantae Deven. This is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but the case started, started states over. And we won't go to, if you've been following my videos and it started off basically in Asheville. Let's pick up there. She moved from out of state, but we'll start in Asheville. Starts off in Asheville, goes to Fayetteville, several different houses transpire in Fayetteville. We went by the houses today. I'll put the footage on the thing. It said that'll be up there. So essentially, this is another case. It's very similar to Classic and Sincere out in Bakersfield, California. If you follow that case, it's publicly kind of known as like the West Brothers case. Their birth names are Classic and Sincere. The adopted names, the media names, whatever, or North and West. We don't know what happened to the poor little things, their bodies, but there was justice. The adoptive parents, I've used the word parent lightly, they're incarcerated. Okay, so very similar. These kids go missing. It's, what happened. And yes, Fayetteville, North Carolina. And the bodies of these children. And when I say children, one of them, London, was a little bit older. Blake was younger. But I mean, it was way later that this was discovered. Okay. So it's another one of those cases of being like, how did this go undocumented, whatnot? Now I'm going to do another video that came out recently, because I'm talking like she got other members of kids to help dispose. Horrible. It's really one of the most gruesome cases I've heard in a long time. Oh, thank you, Tracy, for gifting 10 memberships. I appreciate it. And welcome to the Sofa Squad, Chrissy. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, and Sandy asked, Classic and Sincere were never found where they know they were not. We will never know. Honestly, that's one of those cases that's up there as far as, like, for me, for like JonBenet of what really happened. You know what I'm saying? Because God only knows what those poor little boys went through. God only knows. We have an idea, obviously, from, what took place and everything like that. But yeah, they were never given a proper burial. So Avantae Deven gets caught, right? So fast forward. She's in jail, okay, in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, she did the same kind of a thing where she moved from place to place. She had businesses set up. She had this, she had that. And in jail, she says. So, and this is pretty fresh, let's say. We're not even like a year into this case. So she had a disposition hearing today, which I think is like a status hearing or whatever. So Shana and I met, and we're like, okay, we're going to go check this out. These are the things that I wanted to answer. And again, I'm going to kind of follow this one over time because it's literally an hour away from me. So it's easy for me too, if that makes sense. I can get there. But for me, I was like, I want to see what it's like to be in the room with her. You know what I'm saying? What does the energy feel like when she walks in? What did Blake and London and these other people feel like when they were in their living room and she came in the room? What did they experience being around her? That kind of a thing. Okay. Like, what kind of like monstrous thing are we dealing with here? So let's get into like the tea of like the day or whatever. Okay. So I met Shana last night. We hang out, we, do whatever. Oh, thanks, Julie, for gifting 10 memberships. And, we get up this morning and then we meet up. We head off to, Starbucks first, then to court. Okay, now, backdrop. If you're not familiar, Fayetteville, North Carolina is a very transient town that you have, Pope Air Force Base. I don't know the name of it now, but I think they call it Fort Liberty now. When I was growing up, it was always Fort Bragg is there. So it's a military town, people coming and going, this type thing. Okay. Very industrial. Lots of it is very run down. Yeah, Fort Liberty. Thank you, Bookworm. I've actually heard from several of you emailing me like restaurant suggestions, information about Fayetteville, and I love that. And eventually I might do like some kind of like a meet up and talk and like get, interview you, that kind of thing. If you're interested, if you live there or from there, no. So that's the backdrop. A case that some people might be familiar with is the Jeffrey McDonald case. This took place way back when. It was on the base there. This is the guy who took his family out, tried to make it look like it was like Manson, copycat people or whatever. and I told Shayna about Fayetteville. I said, look, I have like I don't know if you want to call it a bias, but it's like literally everybody I know that's like from Fayetteville absolutely cannot wait to get away from there. They don't like it. And then that case, that's what Fayetteville in my mind is like kind of tarnished with, this like crazy cases like this. So, and again, like if you've lived in a military town, if parents or you were in the service and whatnot, and you've been in these towns, it's very similar to that, where it's just, there's a vibe. Okay. I don't know how to say it, but there's a vibe. So Fayetteville has that vibe, right? It used to be quite honest, like if you were to ask me what's in Fayetteville, obviously the bases and stuff, girly bars, tattoo places, bars, and military haircut places. It's different. There's stuff there now, right? Restaurants and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's, Randa says I was an Army wife for years. So Randa, did you live in Fayetteville? So if you did, right? Pawn shops, yes, thank you, bookworm. It's a vibe, okay? So Fayetteville does that. So fast forwarding, we're going there. This is my energy of Fayetteville, and it's living up to it, right? And what was funny, like when I checked into the hotel last night, and they were like this. They were like, "Oh, Violetta, you were stationed there. Okay, yep. A lot of people familiar with it." Well, so we'll talk about that again in a second here, because I got some questions. So like at the hotel, when I checked in and everything like that, and they're like, "Okay, now," they give you your little spiel, and they're like, "And do you have any dogs on you?" Now Matt had the dogs. I was like, "No," and they're like, "And you're sure you don't have dogs?" I'm sitting here, I'm like, "And do I look like I'm smuggling dogs?" It was so funny. They wanted to make sure I didn't have dogs. So that part was so weird to me. Okay, so we get up, we head to the courthouse. Now, let me tell you this much. Every courthouse is different. Okay. I knew going into it, we probably were going to see Avantae. We find the courtroom. We go into the courtroom. We sit down in the courtroom. Now, mind you, Shannon had done some investigation, and they're like, "Well, look, every courtroom's different. They might have dress code, whatever." Y'all already know. Y'all know whatever. I wore khakis, blazer, dress shirt, red tie. Yo, when I tell you, we stuck out, and Shayna had on, I can't remember. She looked nice. We stuck out like sore thumbs, y'all. I was like, they're gonna kick us out. They're gonna be like, "We don't want no YouTubers up in there. Go on, get now." You know what I'm saying? So it was bad, right? I mean, not bad, but you know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh my God, like this is so whatever. So then we get in, and the judge, she comes out, they kind of introduce whatever, like the bailiff dude or whatever, and she comes out and is basically like, "Hey, here's how this courtroom works," whatever. So they hold on. So they're like, "We're gonna go, and we have 3 different rosters that we're gonna call everybody on, and it's like a public defender roster, basically we don't know what our plea is yet roster, and then a private attorney roster." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." Can y'all hear the dogs in the background? So then we're like, "Okay, let's go," right? So the state prosecutor dude starts like going down the first list, and he's calling the names, and I'm like, "Oh, the list doesn't seem that long," because like the courtroom is big but not that big. And so I'm like, this could go kind of quick, but we don't hear Avantae's name. Well, then they get to the public defender list, and they're going down, and it's taking forever. Okay. Then they say Avantae Deven, but the questions that they ask after each person, normally like public defender or whatever, they don't say anything. Now, obviously she's incarcerated, right? Okay. So there's that. And like some people in the audience and whatnot would have been like pretend it was like some woman's husband. This is like kind of a thing that happened a few times. "Oh, he's in custody," or a private attorney or whatever. So we're like, "Oh, Avantae," right? So we're perking up. We're like, here we go. We got our little pens and pencils out. Now, backdrop to this information is they have explicitly said no cell phones. Now, Shayna and I immediately we sit down, we turned our phones completely off, right? We turned them completely off just because we already know. I'm like, I can't get my phone taken away. And they said, no cell phones or your phone will get basically confiscated and you may or may not get it back, was their words. Okay. So keep that in mind as we get into the drama that unfolds. Okay. It was good too, y'all. Not Avantae drama, but whatever. So they start going through this whole thing, right? And like the people who were basically like, say it maybe seemed fresh. Okay, I don't know any other way to say it. Like their charges were fresh, whatever. They hadn't like pleaded or they hadn't gotten a lawyer. They would actually do stuff, and they'd be like, "Well, what are you going to do? Okay, we come up here and fill out this affidavit. How much money you make, whatever. We'll assign you a public defender, all this kind of stuff." And so that would trigger some stuff. Now the whole time, like, so pretend y'all are the courtroom, like in front of me, or y'all are the judge. So to the left and right is like doors, and then like the jury thing, and then a box for like, say, currently incarcerated people to sit in and whatnot, like if they came out or whatever. And then like here's the audience, like we're the audience, right? So and then the bailiff guy's like running around, and he'd be like, so if somebody come in, he'd be like, sit down. Or if you had a hat on, he'd be like, like sounds like 3 syllables. I'm joking. He wouldn't do all that. But so he'd be doing all that. Judge is up there doing her thing. Attorneys are kind of coming and going, but it's mostly like the state, right? You can't really tell the difference, okay? So this is going on whatnot. Now, basically, when she came out, she meaning the judge, the courtroom starts at 9:10. She was like this. She was like, okay, I'm kind of making this up, but like 11 o'clock, we take a break. At 1 o'clock, if we're still going, we do a lunch break. Then we come back and we do the second roster. Why were we sitting there? I mean, going on, I don't know, 9:30, quarter till 10, still doing the roster. That took forever, right? Well, I'm over here like this. I'm like, I already have to use the bathroom. I'm personally ready to go. I mean, it was bad, right? So that's going on. And then so at a certain point, I told Shayna, I said, look, I said, what's happening? Like nothing's really going on, right? And so then a few minutes later, the judge is like, now I'm just kind of telling you the happenings. We'll get to the drama in a minute. So then the judge is like, hey, for everybody who doesn't know, like the way the courtroom rolls is this. Behind my courtroom is a conference room. And the state and the defense attorneys are back there wheeling and dealing, talking about what's going to happen, this, that, and the other. And then when they're ready to go, they're ready to go. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I told Sheena, I was like, so you can't tell me these people work together. They're talking. They're in the conference room back there. I was like, do you really think that they're going to like the defense attorneys are really going to be like trying to, go all out there for their clients unless it gets into high profile type stuff? It's almost like that whole thing of like they're all working for the same team type situation. Please hold until you get to something maybe high profile. We did see Avantae's attorney because when I looked at the news clip when I got home, I saw him and I was like, oh yeah, he was there. But the public defenders might represent like 8 people in that courtroom, right? Oh, Roxy, I hope you're okay. Hope you feel better. So we're sitting there doing that, and we get to the point where the judge is basically like, okay, we're going to go ahead and take this break. So that's where we were like, you know what? Also, they had brought one inmate out and put him in the box. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that was it. There was nobody else. They didn't bring Avantae. They didn't bring anybody else. Oh, thanks, Julie's. And so we sit there and it's going and going and going. So at that point, we were like, okay, because we wanted to go. This is like we started the day off. We wanted to go to the houses. We wanted to do this, and we we're like, you know what? I don't think we're gonna ever see her. Like I was like, now that they're doing all this behind the scenes, behind the courtroom, there's nothing. There's not going to be anything, and that's all it's going to be. So we took this moment to go ahead and just leave right before they came back in from the break and did everything, got all seated and whatnot. So we found our way out. We left. We went to the houses. Now we'll talk about that in a second. So pause there. Let's get to the drama that took place in the courtroom. Secondarily, all they did was reset because I looked up when I got home. Her next date is February 13th. Will I go? I'm not sure. Um, because if today was judging what that's going to be like nothing's going to take place. You know what I'm saying? That we would see. So we're just going to wait on that one. Okay, let's get to the drama. So remember how I said that the guy, the bailiff dude was like, look, phones, all that we're going to confiscate it. We might not give them back, this, that, the other. Okay. So let's just talk about phone drama alone. Okay. So as the courtroom is going, and so the judge was very nice. She was very professional, very friendly, very fair. Okay. Because to me, there was a couple of times where people were talking so much. I was like, personally, me, because I can't hear anything, I'd be like, everyone needs to shut up. But she let people go a little bit before she would say, hey, look, you need to take this conversation outside, right? Okay, so phone drama in general. First phone drama that pops off. Okay, so like as stuff is going and whatnot, so like pretend that maybe something took place and a guy was like, oh, I thought I heard from my lawyer. She's like, well, you need to contact your lawyer and then come back and let me know, like right now. You know what I mean? Like this kind of scenario. So this dude's sitting like 4 or 5 seats behind us. And I see the bailiff guy come over and I hear him and he's just like, you can't be in your phone. He's like, you need to put your phone up because he would have a thing to kind of point to you to do it. And so the dude's like, well, the judge told me to call. And he was like, yeah, but you can't do that in court. And he's like, but she told me to call. And he's like, court's in session. You can't be on your phone in here in the court. And I'm like, oh, here it goes. It's going to pop off. He's like, would you want me to step outside? And he's like, yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, ding, 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 ding. Give him $200. Okay. So he gets up and goes outside, but he gives him some smack talk on the way out the door. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't the best drama over the phone. So, okay, now in the interim, I have seen the bailiff legit go up to a couple of people with no questions asked, totally nice. So your phone, you need to turn that off. And the dude turns out you can't be on that. Okay, now hand it to me. Hands him the phone. He just takes it, gets right to the judge. No, just not even, we ain't even talking about it. Okay. I see him do this twice. Okay. So then all of a sudden, Shane and I are talking, whatever. And it was kind of like one of those quiet lull moments, whatever, because not much is going on in the courtroom. We hear this dude, he's bickering with the bailiff, and it's getting louder and louder. And it's over a phone. And I can hear the dude, like the audience member, saying stuff like, well, why didn't you take their phones? Why didn't you take their phones? That's not fair. That's not fair. So then it gets loud enough to where it's like everyone's kind of paying attention to the judge. The guy goes, judge, raises his hand, whatever he's got to do to get her attention. And he's like, he's trying to take my phone. He only warned these 3 people, but he didn't take my phone. That's not fair. He's being biased, or he's showing favoritism, or whatever. Y'all ask me what the judge did. Because I was like this. I was like, oh my God. I can't believe I'm sitting here thinking this. Why did we decide to do this? Why am I here? What is this? What, we're going to die. Okay. So the judge is like, what's your name, sir? I'm making this up now. Okay. Let's say Mr. Phonesby. She's like, Mr. Phonesby, could you stand up, Mr. Phonesby? We already know you could hear a pin drop at this point. She's like, Mr. Phonesby, how old are you? And he was like, I'm 36. And she's like, you need to start acting 36. Now sit down. And I was like, put him out there on Front Street. I'm talking out there on Front Street. Well, everyone's laughing at the dude now. I mean, literally, because people are just like, well, that phone's not going to get you out of jail. Because I was like, he's getting ready to get contempt of court over the phone. Like, is that? And I'm thinking to myself, he's talking about the guys being biased. I'm thinking, dude, you're not the only phone they've taken, right? Granted, now he might not have seen the stuff I've seen, but I'm like, dude, this guy's taking phones left and right. Like, it's not even an option to be on there. Right? So there's that, right? So that drama pops off. Okay, what was the other stuff? Okay, hold on 1 second. Sorry, that is so good. Oh my gosh. So then this was another overall thing that we saw. the level of I don't care was so strong. I I don't know how to express it. Okay. Like, here's the vibe. Y'all, they are playing and playing. You can just hear them in the background. And I told Shana this. I'm thinking, I'm like, look, obviously nobody wants to be here in this situation for that, right? Like, I get it, 100%. Like, they didn't add, like, granted, whatever people allegedly did to be in the scenario, yes, I get that. But that doesn't mean that they're like happy go lucky, great, we're here. Okay. It's like, it is what it is. Probably arguably at a low point in life, right? So, like, this scenario would go off here. So, like, how the lawyers and stuff like that would come out and they'd be like, Judge, can I call somebody? Mr. Bo, it's Mr. Bo here. This is how it go. Are you Bo? Yes, no. Yeah. Okay, here, come up here. So Bo comes up there. Yeah, hey, good morning, Bo. How are you? Nothing. Right. And like the lawyer would be like, whatever they're talking about, like, okay, well, here's this gonna be. Yeah, so you're gonna be coming back here, okay. They just turn around and walk off. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, don't you like want to put your best foot forward, maybe? Um again, the dress, just sweatpants, dirty clothes, the whole room smelled like weed. Okay. And I was like, can't you get in trouble for that? Um, it's like, it's like, I, it was so wild. Okay. So then this is another thing going on too. So, and I'm going to use this one girl, not obviously her name or anything, but just as an example. So they call this one lady up there. Okay. And she goes up there, in my opinion, being judgmental just from the superficial looks. I was like, surely it's a drug charge or something, right? She looks like she might have some issues going on. And they're like reading stuff off, and it's like basically like expired tag and this, that, and the other, or whatever. Like it was something stupid, like with your car, right? And there's a couple of people in there like that. And that was it. And it was like, okay, well, you're going to end up going to this courtroom later, whatever. But still, that like, okay. Well, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, now I don't know her story, but I'm like, there's most likely some other stuff going on here. And this could possibly devastate her life. Something that could be as simplistic as the car's been taken away. Okay, now how do you get to work? Well, now you can't get to work, so now you can't get this money. Now you can't get this money, so now you see what I'm saying? And so I was like, something so simplistic could destroy someone's life that probably already has this other stuff going on, right? Take anything out aside of like actions being there, all this kind of stuff, whatever, right? So that's where like some of the people I definitely was like, my heart aches, right? Hold on a second. Forget them. Wait, what was the other one? What was the other good one? Oh, there was one, this lady. It was like her son, I think. And this was the most professional human being, not obviously the judge and the lawyer, people like that, but like audience member. No, there's two actually. We'll get to that. So this woman in the audience, and basically the context is this. Her son was supposed to be in there, but he's in the hospital. So when the judge and all these people, like whatever, the lawyers call the name to be like, is there? She's like, he is in the hospital. And so they're like, oh, ma'am, this is what you need to do type thing, right? You're going to need to go to this place and get essentially to prove he's there, right? So later they come back. She comes back in. And like, this is the vibe. Pretend the judge, she's like, Miss Watson, did you find your thing? Yes, ma'am, judge. May I stand up? Okay, yes, ma'am. The judge said this. I'm sorry, the hospital said this. The doctor was doing the rounds. They are going to put it on a facsimile and do this. She was dressed nicely. Judge says, okay, ma'am, could you go over here and get this? Yes, ma'am. Do you want me to come back in the courtroom? Very professional, very respectful. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I was thinking this, I probably told Shana, I was like, her son's lucky that his mom cares enough to go through this process and is speaking so representing him so well. Because that good, like, to me, I'm thinking like this judge has to notice that he cares, his mom cares, because that was the whole thing I was watching. As I was just like, people can tell that you just don't care, right? Not them, but like in general, right? I was like, when the vibe is you don't care, well, why should I care? Basically, but she really stuck out. This other dude who he had this part down good, where he was like, "Yes, ma'am," you know, ma'am. And so, like, whatever, there's some confusion or whatever, right, with the judge, like who his lawyer was. And he's like, "Well, ma'am, I'm confused because last week," and basically he was in there for something where he communicated threats and pointed a pew pew at somebody. And his whole thing was the dude who's like, he did it too, the boy, he called him, hasn't shown up to any of the things. He's not going to show up. So there's no witness, basically. And so this dude's now caught in this conundrum of paperwork mishaps, where it's like, there's two, pretend that his lawyer's name was Mr. Smith. So they were saying, "Oh, you've been assigned to Miss Smith." And he's like, "But I just talked to Smith." It was this whole conundrum, right? Okay, so there's that. Now, let's talk about general vibe. So this part right here, might throw up talking about it. Okay, so the courtroom is dingy. It's like you're in a basement. Okay, when like the walls, like where you could sit up, like, so here's the bench or whatever, and you can like go up against the wall. So the walls look like at each bench thing, like the wall is like dirty from age. So once court started going, and it's like Shannon pointed it out over to me, every stain was where a person was laying their head against the wall. And I was like, that is years worth of people's heads in those exact spots. I looked around the courtroom. Every single stain spot was where somebody was putting their head. And I was like, oh my God, I seriously might vomit. Okay. Now, another funny thing was the dude sitting, well, there's two things. One dude sitting directly behind me, who I thought was with the dude who there was a confusion about, pointing the thing or whatever. And the guy was like, the dude's not going to show up or whatever. Okay. So we're all sitting there. Literally, this is all you heard for a minute. You heard the dude. We turned around. He's literally like this. I'm talking, snoring as hard as you can go. The bailiff had to come over and wake him up. And I was like, dude, trust me. I'm right there with you. Okay. 100% would be doing the same, right? If I was in comfortable clothes, I would have fallen out 20 minutes ago. No shame. I would have been curled up on the floor. God forbid if they allow blankets in there, please. I would never have made it because it was freezing cold. So that was funny. So yeah, those were like the main highlights of the courtroom saga. Fascinating to go. So these were things that we learned, or I learned, maybe she did, whatever. Yeah, right. Maggie says courtroom smell like fear, 100%. Fear and weed. I know Freya says, judge, can I have a court blanket? Wanted to ask and did. Right. Leslie says, I live in Kentucky. I wear a nice tailored suit for my court appearance, expired tags. The guy up front immediately directed me to the holding room where all the lawyers were. 100%. I was waiting for someone to say something like that to Shane and I, right? Okay. So thanks, Julie. I appreciate it. Now, another thing that was kind of like interesting or funny or whatever is the dude sitting to my right, like we're talking. Not we're talking, but like stuff's going on. It's like I told you, it was like you get in there and all this stuff starts going on. You're like, well, what's happening? Like, we're just sitting here. Well, he starts talking to me, and Shannon said it perfectly. She was like, he was talking to you like you knew his case and like all these people. And I'm like, I know. It was so weird because it would almost be like this. Like if I turned, like we didn't know each other, and I turned to you, I was like, man, lawyer so-and-so last time, it was like 30 minutes that she did this and that. And then I had to wait and it was like 20 minutes. But then, the last week when I did this, and I don't know how to describe, but it's like saying names of people and lawyers and situations that I'm like, and I was like this, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, I was like, did you have to wait a long time? I was trying to go along, but then I was like, this guy's like disgruntled. I'm not trying to get kicked out of the courtroom, let alone draw attention to ourselves, right? I was like, dude, like, go be like angry somewhere else, right? So, things that we learned. Number one, definitely for trial, get there early. Because we got there a little bit late. Not late, I'm sorry. We got there early, but not like early, but we were 3 seats back, right? But if it was a trial, 100% show up earlier because it'll probably be busy with media, stuff like that. Secondly, I would have to, like I think Shayna was saying, I can't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was, if it was Hidden Truth at Lauren, someone who maybe I don't know what trial where they brought a little cushion to sit on, because definitely, like, as I was sitting there, I was like, oh, my neck's starting to hurt. You know what I mean? Because it's what you imagine, it's this hard benches or whatever. Food, I don't know how that would work, but I would, because I was like getting hungry and thirsty. Then Paul drama is this. So, obviously I'm wanting to film and do stuff like this, and this is like a dry run, right? I will have y'all know okay, just take a guess. If somebody wants to film some YouTube videos, what would be one of the most important things that they would need to do so? One of the most obvious things. Hey, will you bring me some more, Matt? Maybe, hey, will you put the fried mozzarella things in, please? Um, Emily, yes, a camera. I did remember the camera. However, there's components to the camera that are just as important. Enter the batteries for the camera and the charger for the batteries for the camera. Y'all, I had gone to the apartment to film the interview with Joshua Ritter's channel. Brought all my stuff over there because, like, the dogs, I was like, this has to be quiet, this has to be real, this has to be whatever. Matt's like, you just need to go to his place, and nothing, no dogs are there, nothing, right? So I had gone over. I thought I was doing so good, y'all. I packed the car up when I was done. I got everything, and I remember looking at the battery charger and thinking, Paul, put that in your bag, and that's all that took. Fast forward to the day before, I'm packing stuff, but whatever, doing all this the morning of, and then I'm like, I can't find the battery charger. I can't find the battery charger. Can't find the extra batteries. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Right? Left them at the apartment. They were there. I ended up, so this is what we did. I had to, first of all, order 10 different things, 10 different batteries, 4 different charging stations. Then, Carly, 100%. Carly says, ADHD for you, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what it was. Okay. So I had to go basically back to the apartment the next day, whatever, get it. It was just, the camera never worked out, so I filmed on my phone the whole time, right? Which was a good lesson for that. So it was definitely like a lesson and being like, okay, this is how, a drive-through, a dry run, whatever you call it, where it was like, okay, this is what you need to be on the lookout for, this, that, and the other. Now, again, there wasn't too much to film here, and actually it did work out better filming because, like, when I was filming, like, on the street, you draw attention to yourself with it. I'm self-conscious about that, right? So that was like my funny little Paul moment beforehand. To me, it was, so then after that, we're like, okay, so there's all the court stuff, right? Okay, so after that, it's like, we're going to drive to Avantae's houses. And I'm going to knock on the door and just be like, look, I'm with Avon. Are y'all interested? And just see what they say. No. Yeah, Wampa says Citronic be filmed. Yeah, Wampa there. So there was like no media. No one was allowed to have any kind of cameras, anything like that, right? Um, so now I don't know what will happen like when the trial comes up or whatever, but definitely like, and this is one thing that I told Shannon, I was like, we're not even seeing like Chris Lovinggood, who's covering the case for WREL. Like there was no signs of any kind of media like that. So I was like, I bet she's not going to even be seen. Nothing's going to happen today. And we kind of figured that, but it was nice to go maybe not a crazy day and see how that courthouse works, where the parking is, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And like, what's the vibe here? It's relatively a small courthouse. So remember, there's two houses that this took place at, right? Oh, hey, Amy, how's it going? Thank you for being a member for 6 months. Um, so we went by the first house. And again, I'll do a video of it, whatever. Now, people are living in the first house that she's in. Well, they're living in both of them, but like someone completely not related to the case, right? So, y'all, the neighborhood, and again, I don't know the proper terminology, but to me, I was like, this is like a middle class, nice looking neighbor. Like, people are going to work. Shannon made mention of it's like, yeah, it's quiet. Everybody's like probably at work. There's no kids running around. I mean, again, this is during the daytime at this point, right? Um, but definitely houses not on top of each other, but you're going to see your neighbors and what they're doing and all that. Well, then we drove from that one to the house where, like, say the arrest and all that went down, like where it's the current where they were living at, the most recent place. And again, because in my mind, I was like, I want to see how close they are to other neighbors and whatnot. And again, that neighborhood was even nicer, you know, and it was weird because like there was like this apartment complex in the neighborhood behind gates. It was like, where did this come from, right? Um, so that was thank you. That neighborhood was even nicer, and the house was nice looking. It was like nothing bad about it or whatever. Um, it was one of those moments where you're like, you never know what's going on behind closed doors, right? You never know what's going on behind closed doors. That kind of energy right there. Because I mean, the heinousness of this crime. Remember, this isn't just these kids. It's her mother. She's been accused of. I mean, her mother's passed now, I believe. But mother. She's been accused of not taking care of properly. So then from there, we went to downtown Fayetteville. What was interesting about downtown, what's it called, Fayetteville, is, and if you're from there, been there, let me know your vibe on this. It was so vastly different from where else we were. It had like this college town vibe, right? We ate at this little brewery place, amazing grilled chicken salad, Caesar salad. Um, Shayna got like these chicken tender things. It looked amazing. But I was like, oh, this feels more vibrant down here. It feels more alive, that kind of thing. Pardon me, I'm sorry to chew like that. Um, so that was kind of it. And so then from there, dropped Shane off, and then I came home. Um, so my overall thoughts again, I mean, it's basically that. It's like, what? Pardon me. It's like again the backdrop of Fayetteville, because I wonder, was she able to get away with this because of how transient is there? Was she able to get away with it because of how tricky she was? And where people these days like transient neighborhood or whatever, pardon me, it's like, what did she do to be able to pull this off for so long? Blue says downtown a few years ago was filled with homeless. We used to hand backpacks out to the homeless. Oh, that's cool. What happened, Blue? Did like what happened? Do you know? Wampa, I did not see her in court. She goes back to court February 13th. Do I think she'll be in court that time? Probably not. So the whole thing about the attorneys hanging out behind the scenes and working everything out, thanks, Jennifer. Um, before they come before the judge, whatever, it was odd. I mean, it's how it worked, obviously, but it was also just kind of odd because you didn't really know. And again, with her, I'm assuming, I don't know, that maybe secure. I would assume she's high, like consider high profile or like a keep separate type energy because of the charges. So the fact that we never saw her in the courtroom, I was like, maybe they're taking care of business behind the scenes, like going to see her, if she's even there. I would assume she'd be at the courthouse somewhere, right? Um, but hey, Matt, could you bring me a Coke, please? I'm very needy tonight. Very needy. Please hold. Yeah, Wampa says she's terrifying. 100%. Maggie says, oh, wait, hold on. Thank you, darling. Maggie says, is it Bo or Bo? So, okay, when I want to be fancy, it's Bo, Beau. But technically, I think Bo and Luke from Dukes of Hazzard spell it Bo. So, but we call him Bobo. That's his little nickname. And Luke is Tweak because that's exactly what he is. Bobo is definitely, he's been showing out ever since I got home. He is Mr. Alpha Dog. He directs all the dogs and tells them how it's going to go. That's what he's been doing all night long. He has this little toy that he carries around and then beats up everybody who tries to get near him, or if you get near his little cushion on the sofa. Yeah, she's very scary looking. It's literally, and that's how I wanted to sense. Like I said, I was curious to see, because again, I'm just thinking, like I'm imagining, and I don't know what life was like in the house, other than like what we've learned from like people who've lived there and whatnot. But like, think about a random Wednesday after school or whatever. They're sitting there maybe playing in a Nintendo or whatever the kids play these days, whatever. Um, she comes in from the other room. What did that feel like? What did that energy feel like? Just like with the book that we're reading with the Ruby Frankie book, where she's talking about that energy of like being around Jody, that draining you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious, like, what did that feel like? And I know it's different being in a courtroom and that kind of thing, but how does she move? How does she take up space? These kinds of things. Eventually, we'll see. All right. Next time I go, I want to do a little bit more research because it's been so long and looking into the Jeffrey McDonald case, see if there's like places to go. Like, I don't know if, their burial sites are there. I don't think they are. But that case is such a backdrop. And then Shayna was even looking up other things, cases there. There's just lots of crazy crimes that have gone on in Fayetteville. Okay, so right now, if you can hear that, Bo, you hear that? That's Bo's little blue toy. And he gets it, and it absolutely ticks Luke off. I'm talking it, what's him off. Okay. And he barks and he barks and he barks. And Bo knows what he's doing. Kim Williams and Fayetteville. I wonder if that's who she was looking up today. Is that recent, Maggie? Oh, thank you, Amy, for gifting 10 memberships. And people who are getting memberships, if you go to the membership thing in the community tab, that's where you'll see a lot of the stuff. You're going to see a lot of like little videos probably recently of or shorts about the Ruby Frankie book because I can't shut up about it. I'm going to make one for the main channel tomorrow morning with some thoughts and like specifically their little love affair because I cannot, right? I just literally sends my blood pressure through the roof. Maybe that's what, hold on. Heather, I think that's what Shannon was telling me about. Please hold. It came right up. I mean, 3 hours ago. So we have, what's that? So, man arrested in the death of Fayetteville woman reported missing. Heather Williams, Fayetteville man charged with the murder of the missing woman. Arrest made in the same. I mean, this is so, okay. So hold on. So a Fayetteville man was arrested and charged on Thursday after a woman who was reported missing was found dead a week later. Fayetteville police say Tyrell Sermons, 30, was arrested on Thursday and charged with first-degree M in connection with the death of 25-year-old Heather Williams. On Saturday, a follow-up investigation of a missing and endangered person detectives who were led to a wooded area near Newark Avenue and State Avenue where detectives found a body. Authorities said the body was 25-year-old Heather Williams. He's being held at Cumberland County Detention Center without bond. Anyone with, and it just goes into the thing. I mean, again, and I'm not trying to say that other towns don't have stuff going on, but like literally, it just seems like there's something extra special going on there, right? Oh, thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. I know, right? Bookworm, literally. When we do it up, we do it up. We do it up big down here. Okay. Oh, Carolina. Is it Carolina or Carolina? Yeah, Robin, this one, especially if you're interested in the Ruby Frankie case, literally, it's, and Sherry narrates the book on Audible. That's how I'm like consuming it, whatever you say, reading it, whatever. Um, I love hearing her read it because obviously it's her story, so she knows how to like narrate it the right voice inflection or whatever. But beautifully written. Like on top of that, it feels like a beautifully written book. So, it's definitely good. I hope she makes millions off of it and is able to go live an anonymous life somewhere. The things she has, and I know that her siblings have too as well. I'm not trying to negate that. The things that she's been through, because there's other stuff, the backdrop to her family stuff that's going on that you're just like, oh, side note, and Amy, Lee's wife, Amy, thank you for posting this. Y'all see where Sarah Boone's, pardon me, custody was announced, and it's like the highest one next to the highest one there is. It's like she deserves every bit. Right? It's just like, yes. Okay. Blue says Fayetteville's top 10 for worst cities in North Carolina. Yeah, I 100% can see that. There was just a vibe there, hopelessness, and not for the whole thing. Because, like, to me, what's interesting about Fayetteville is like different parts of it. But see, it's still, no matter what, it just had this small feeling, but that industrial feeling, and not the industrial feeling like when you're around the military complex, because to me, that's a little bit different industrial feeling or whatever. I don't know. There's just a vibe. That's all I know how to say. Downtown was cool. There's nice parts of town that were cute. And again, like I said, where Avantae lived, both neighborhoods, I was like, this is any working class neighborhood you would see. Like you would completely be like, I'm cool walking down the street here, with headphones on. I mean, to me, I didn't think that there was anything bad about it at all. Place where I stopped to get gas on the way out of town is another situation. Brooklyn. You said Brooklyn. You said you live in Fayetteville. They're from here. Okay, so are you familiar with the case, the Avantae case, where the neighborhoods I'm talking about? Is she in Ocala? I think so, Emily. They're bonus in herself. Oh, 100%. Oh, wait. Okay. So, hey, Kelly, how's it going? Paul, I'm late. I'm so behind in chat, but you got to read the Balladoni versus Blake lawsuit. If all he said is true, Blake's goose is totally cooked. Oh, God, really? I need to check that out. I haven't looked into that one at all. Vaguely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We went down. So, Brooklyn, we went downstairs. We went down town to eat lunch at Gaston Brewery or pub or something like that. It was good. It was really good. I'm trying to even think. She lives off of can't remember the name of the neighborhoods where it's like I can't pronounce the name, Urchdale and Barradale or something like that. I don't have it in front of me, the address, but they're like 10 minutes from each other. One of the first house is like 10 minutes from the courthouse. I work at Rude downtown. I'm not sure. Do you know the place I just said, the Gaston place I was talking about? First of all, and this is the other thing too. And Brooklyn, tell me if you've ever been here. So their theater, and when I say theater, like people on stage theater or whatever, like acting, they have Misery, the movie playing down there right now. Not the movie, like the stage production of Misery going. And then the other shit, they had A Christmas Story, Misery, Little Shop of Horrors. I was like, seriously? I want to come see the Misery show. That looks so cool. Rude Awakening Coffee Shop. Oh my God. That's so cool. Well, maybe I'll meet you on my next trip there. It looked really good. I mean, I literally was like, I want to come see Misery. I've never heard of a stage production. It seems so cool. Can you imagine have you seen it in Brooklyn? Can you imagine if they did the hobbling thing on stage? And Tina says, Misery the play. No, it's like, how do you do that? Hey, Christine, how's it going? Yeah, the downtown to me had like a really cute vibe. Like I was talking to my barber the other day, and he was like, he's from Fayetteville. Well, he lives in Raleigh now, obviously. Um, he was like, yeah, I couldn't wait to get out of there. And like some people here at the Sofa Squad, I've talked to him, and this goes true for. It's like I'm from a small town. It's not small anymore. I couldn't wait to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that's a natural thing of I wanted to get away from where you're at, whatever. And then with like getting older, you're not. I don't know, like you're just not doing the same stuff. It's different. I don't know. But yeah, the downtown of Fayetteville is just a completely different vibe than any other part of Fayetteville. So I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah. Oh, Sandra. So the next one is going to be, I've actually literally been cooking on that. I'm going to do one on the letter. But see, here's the thing. So I've been like trying to figure out how to do it. And I was like, Paul, just make it on these 3 talking points. Talking about the letter and the JonBenet thing, JonBenet case, because it's so, literally, I can't, y'all, that case. That's why that's why I made the video about it, about not talking about it. So I get so overwhelmed with it. So I'm going to do one letter thing. Because here's the thing. A lot of you in the comments where we've been talking about it, I went and started looking at the stuff that y'all sent me for the JonBenet thing. I listened to a normal family podcast. Y'all, immediately go listen to that if you haven't listened to it. Immediately go listen to it. So interesting. Then someone emailed me this thing of, you got to go look at this documentary. It's about the intruder theory. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I love hearing about everybody's theory on it. I absolutely love it. Now, I'm not trying to negate the fact that poor little JonBenet died at the hands of someone, right? We don't know who, but whatever. It's it's tragic, right? But that's the unsolved dynamic to it. And then 2, the dynamic where I'm just like, what did that poor girl go through. My God, bless her heart. I can't imagine. Oh my God, Amy. Oh, I am so sorry. 100% sending out prayers and good energy. Oh, I mean, I get you got to do it. I mean, it's a hard thing to do, but it doesn't make it any easier. It's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like when they're at that point, but it doesn't make it any easier. Oh, my heart aches for you. Mm-mm. The name, Chrissy, the name of the podcast is A Normal Family. I think it was on Spotify or something. It's like 6 episodes. Pardon me. Oh, I'm sure, Amy. When it came time for Roscoe, well, I don't think I told y'all this. I don't know. When I was visiting my cousin in Texas for Christmas, and I say we, but I mean, I was there, had to put their dog down. Oh my God, y'all. Bless its little heart. I mean, from the first day I got there, you could see the deterioration. And it just went down and down as one of those, same you're talking about. It's just, it's time, right? They're old. There's nothing to recover to. You know what I'm saying? It's never easy. It never is. Hold on, if you haven't left the Army Museum. Oh, I have left, but I'll check that out next time. Because I'm gonna be following the case and going back as much as I can. Um, so definitely want to check out things like that as we go, or you know what I'm saying. Okay, so I gotta go. I have to get up. I'm exhausted. I've been up since 3. Y'all know, so did the live chat last night. Went to bed again. Got up at 3, and literally couldn't go to sleep. I set the alarm clock like for say 6. At 6, I probably fell asleep like 5 minutes before. What was I doing? Listening to another podcast on John Bonet. And then of course it woke me up. It like got my brain going, and I was like, and this one was like one of the people who's like a cop who's like, well, this is what I would have done, like the proper procedure and all this. Literally all I cannot. So it woke my brain up, right? Going on and on about it. So, but anyway, yeah, so I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go to bed, but I wanted to come in here and just like update y'all and talk about it. So there's that. So that's it. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Amy, God bless. I hope everything goes well tomorrow. I mean, my God. Um, I hope everything goes well. We'll be thinking of you. Thank you, Emily, for hanging out and keeping the sofa cushions fluffed and everything going. I appreciate it. And thanks everybody for sitting here and talking and getting a few laughs in, a few updates and stories and all that fun stuff. So y'all have yourselves a good evening. Tomorrow will be Friday. It'll be a cold Friday here. But that's it. We shall talk soon. We'll probably do a live chat, maybe even tomorrow. I want to go. There's a couple of things I'll put them up tomorrow. We'll see which one's going to pan through. A couple of other things that have happened in true crime stuff I want to talk about. So just be on the lookout is what I'm getting at. Good Lord, I can't spit it out. Anyways, I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here and making this sofa possible. And I will see you soon.